up, freaks? This is Andrew from the Freaks of Nature podcast, coming to you with another episode of Freak Finds. Now, if you're not familiar with what we do here, this is an expansion of the podcast where we go out and we find cool collectibles, DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever, and then review them and rate them and talk about them here on the YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'm really excited to talk about this DVD that I picked up because it wasn't part of my original collection. So this was something I wanted, and I had a version of the movie, just not this physical release. So I'm pretty pumped to have it now, and I'm going to keep in line with my recent theme of zombie horror films. And without further ado, this is the DivaMax series Day of the Dead release, and this is actually really cool. It has a neat case that I'll get into in a minute, but I'll go ahead and give you the rundown of the special features real quick first. Okay, so you have commentary from George Romero, Tom Savini, Cletus Anderson, Laurie Cardilli, and Roger Avery. And he has his own separate commentary, so there's two commentaries on the disc. And then disc 2, of course, has a lot of other special features, which include The Many Days of Day of the Dead, an all-new 39-minute documentary featuring interviews with writer-director George Romero, producer David Ball, special makeup effects artists Tom Savini and Greg Nicotero. Of course, Greg Nicotero is real famous and popular right now because of his work on The Walking Dead, but he's always been a part of the horror genre, and especially always been a part of zombie stuff. Production designer Cletus Anderson, assistant director Chris Romero, of course related to George Romero, and actors Laurie Cardilli, Joe Pilato, and Howard Sherman. And then moving on, we have a Day of the Dead behind the scenes, which is 31 minutes of production footage and special makeup effects artist Tom Savini. So you get a nice Tom Savini documentary. He has a lot of cool stuff. He's always worth checking out. He is the best in the business for a reason. So those are always neat to have. There's an audio interview with actor Richard Liberty. There's the Wampum Mine promotional video, which is neat. And then you get into some of the other special features that include theatrical trailers, TV spots, production stills, behind-the-scenes photos, posters and advertising art, gallery of memorabilia, zombie makeup photo gallery. So again, you get to see some of the movie magic that goes into creating the creatures. Continuity stills gallery, which is neat from a filmmaker perspective to kind of see how photos of the day-to-day filming kept everything in continuity. There's a George Romero bio, which is kind of a staple of Romero films. And then DVD-ROM original screenplay and production memos, so you can read the screenplay and the memos that go along with the daily shooting. So those are the special features, and that's a lot. And some of them are cool, and others are, TV spots. Sometimes you get a DVD release that kind of just throws stuff on to throw it on. But you know what? I appreciate that, and I'd rather have a bunch of galleries to thumb through than nothing on the disc at all. Now, opening the case, this is cool, and when I always talk about cool cases, that's, as a collector, I like something that's different than what we have, and this was different. So, right here you have Bub from the film, and he opens up, and he's kind of 3D if you feel that there's some texture there. You open it up, and then I'm going to stop the insert from falling. Here you have the set of discs. Folds out like that, folds in, folds out. And what's cool here is you have an insert. Inserts are kind of a thing of the past now, but this is Day of the Dead from the files of Dr. M. Logan, PhD. So here you have just like neat stuff. You have drawings and little journals of stuff that's happening day to day as he does his experiments. And things like this is what I look for as a collector. I enjoy having that physical media in my hand, but I also enjoy having the physical content that comes with it. Of course, on the back of this, you have your chapter lists. which is something that kind of doesn't really exist on DVDs anymore either. So as far as the physical release goes, that's what it is. This is cool because if you go out and you buy the Blu-ray right now, this is what you get. This edition was so good that they just transferred this over for the special edition Blu-ray. And this, if I were to rate out of 10, I would give it, honestly, I would do an 8 on this one. Not just for nostalgia, but because it has a unique box. It has an insert that's fun to read. There's a lot of special features. This is something that as a collector, I'm really glad to have found. And honestly, isn't that incredibly hard to find if you want to seek it out either. I wouldn't mind hearing anybody who goes out and buys this. I would, share your thoughts with me. Tell me what you like. Tell me if you don't like something. To me, this is one of those holy grails that I sought, and now I finally have. And I'm just really nostalgic about it. I love this movie. Day of the Dead was not well received when it was released, but time has been really good to it, similar to Land of the Dead. I think its counterpart, Return of the Living Dead, was much more hip and for like a younger audience, and kids definitely always kind of related to Return of the Living Dead. And Day of the Dead was a very bleak and dark kind of take on where life would be. And there's always self-reflection in Romero's work. There's allegories to society at the time. Sometimes people don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and understand what we're doing wrong. So it's a lot easier to look at through a lens of 20, 30 years and then understand kind of what the filmmaker was going for and see the brilliance in it. So Day of the Dead, one of my favorite Romero movies. I'm so stoked to have this, and I can't wait to share it with everybody, which I'm doing now. I'm going to end the video. Stay freaky. Look for us on our podcast. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. Content's going to go up daily. Okay, we have a lot of cool things going on at the Freaks of Nature, and just stay tuned, everybody.